Okay, so picture this for a second. It sounds like something right out of I don't know, a sci-fi movie.
Right.
You're on a commercial flight, 35,000 feet up, everything's normal. And then suddenly, the plane just pitches down. Hard.
And it's not turbulence?
Not turbulence, not a pilot error, not a mechanical fault. It's because the sun, the actual sun, millions of miles away, just happened to shoot a particle that hit one tiny microchip in the plane's brain.
It's the kind of scenario that, it just doesn't compute for most people.
And yet, it's real.
Got it.
Then you have another scene. A helicopter lands somewhere, but when the doors open, there's no pilot. In fact, there's no cockpit. The whole nose of the thing just opens up like a clamshell.
It feels like we're jumping between two different futures at the same time.
Hmm.
But this is just, this is the state of play for aviation in late 2025.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're digging into the Q4 December 2025 edition of Aerospace Innovations. And looking through these articles, it feels a bit schizophrenic.
It really does. It's a study in contrast, for sure.
On one side, you've got these incredible leaps, hydrogen engines, pilotless helicopters. And on the other, this deep fragility where a solar flare can ground an entire fleet of aircraft.
And that's really the theme today, isn't it? If you had to pick one, it's this intersection of fragility and futurity. We're at this moment where we're so eager to take humans out of the cockpit.
Right, to rely on the code.
Exactly. Just as we're discovering that the code itself is vulnerable to, the basic physics of the universe.
So let's start there with that invisible enemy, because when I read this A320 report, I honestly had to check the source. It feels so random.
It is jarring, but it's just physics. So the story is this.
Mm-hmm.
An investigation into a JetBlue flight found that intense solar radiation, what's called space weather, could potentially corrupt data in the flight control computers.
And we need to be clear about the scale here. This isn't one quirky experimental plane.
Oh, not at all, no. This report affects the entire Airbus A320 family. So we're talking about roughly 6,000 aircraft all over the world.
Wow. So the plane you might be flying on for your next business trip.
Very possibly, yeah.
Okay, but how? I mean, how does the sun reach into a plane and grab the controls? Most people think of solar flares messing with, like, the radio, maybe GPS.
It really comes down to the microscopic level. Modern jets are fly-by-wire, yeah.
Meaning there's no physical cable from the pilot's stick to the wings? It's all electronic.
It's a flying data center.
Mm-hmm.
And data centers run on ones and zeros stored in memory chips. When a high-energy particle from the sun hits the atmosphere, it can go right through the plane's fuselage and strike a tiny silicon chip.
And it can flip a bit.
Exactly. It can flip a 0 to a 1. They call it a single event upset, or an SEU.
Okay.
Now, if that happens on your laptop, maybe your web browser crashes.
Yeah.
Annoying, but no big deal. But if that bit flip happens in a flight control computer, and it just happens to be the bit that represents, say, the angle of attack.
The angle of the wing.
Right. And suddenly the data flips from a normal 2 degrees to an extreme 20 degrees.
The computer thinks the plane is about to fall out of the sky.
Precisely. And in trying to be helpful and trying to save the aircraft, it might just pitch the nose down aggressively to fix a stall that.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't actually exist.
That is genuinely terrifying. It's not a failure. It's a hallucination. So what did the industry do? Just hope for cloudy days?
No, thankfully, the response was really fast, which is good to see. Airbus sent out what's called an AOT, an Alert Operators Transmission.
Which is like a big heads-up email.
A very serious heads-up, yeah. And that triggered the next step. ESA, the European Aviation Safety Agency, issued an emergency airworthiness directive.
And that's not a suggestion.
No, that's a legal order. It means fix this or these planes don't fly. So operators are scrambling to do software and hardware updates to harden the systems against this stuff.
It's a wild thought. The more digital we make these planes, the more they become vulnerable to a different kind of weather. Not just wind and rain, but, the mood of the solar system.
That is the trade-off, isn't it? You get all this efficiency and precision, but you introduce this whole new layer of risk.
Which is actually the perfect transition. Because if we're worried about the sun confusing a computer that helps a pilot, what happens when the computer is the pilot?
That's the billion-dollar question. And when you look at the AI feature in the magazine, you see the hardware's already there.
Let's talk about the U-Hawk. The description of it was just, it stopped me in my tracks. We've all seen drones, but this is different.
It's the commitment to the idea. This isn't just a normal helicopter they've automated. They've completely redesigned the aircraft around the fact that there is no human inside.
The clamshell doors.
Right. So a normal Black Hawk has the cockpit up front. In the U-Hawk, since you don't need pilots or a cockpit, The entire nose of the helicopter just splits open.
To load cargo directly into the front?
Exactly. It's a flying shipping container. It uses this Matrix X autonomy system to fly itself. It's a total redesign based on the function. And the function is be an algorithm. It's saying we don't need to waste space protecting people anymore.
But this is where I get hung up. We just established how a simple cosmic ray can confuse a top-of-the-line Airbus. Now we have a helicopter with no human backup if its AI gets confused. The tech is just, it's sprinting ahead of our ability to trust it.
You've just put your finger on the central tension of this whole issue.
Yeah.
We have the machine, the U-Hawk, it exists. We have the code. What we don't have is the rule book.
Yeah, the source quotes Rob Matter from IFS, and he says the FAA has a roadmap for AI, but it's vague.
It's very vague. Europe is trying to get ahead of it. EASA put out his first proposal on AI regulations back in November, but it is just an incredibly hard problem to solve.
Why, though? I mean, why is it so much harder? We certify complex software all the time. My car's full of it. The A320 has an autopilot. Why is AI so different?
Okay, so this is the absolute core of the problem. Sukun Goyan from Eurosay explains it in the article, and it's this difference between what he calls deterministic and non-deterministic systems.
Okay, walk me through that.
Deterministic is classic computer code. If this, then that. If you type 2 plus 2 into a calculator, the answer will always be 4. Always. The rules are written in stone by a human.
Simple, predictable, safe.
Right. Now, AI is non-deterministic. It's probabilistic. It's not programmed. It's trained. You show it a million pictures of a safe place to land and say, figure out the pattern.
I'm with you.
But what happens when it sees a landing spot that's just a little bit different from anything in its training data? You know, the lighting is strange or there's snow where there wasn't before. The AI makes a guess. It says, I am 99.9% certain this is safe.
And in aviation, 99.9% is a failing grade.
Exactly. And that's the certification nightmare. How do you test for every possible thing it might encounter that it has never seen before? You literally can't.
So all our existing safety standards, which are basically just big checklists, they don't apply?
They completely fall apart. And that's why this UK working group is trying to build a whole new taxonomy of trust. They even published a gap analysis.
Which is just corporate speak for, here's all the stuff we have no idea how to handle yet.
Pretty much, yeah.
There is a quote from Mark Roboff at Skythread that really just, it cuts to the heart of it. He asks, how can we trust the AI to perform in the same manner as we trust a pilot or a mechanic?
It's such a fundamental question. We trust a pilot because they're trained, they're tested, they have, a survival instinct. We trust a mechanic because they follow a step-by-step manual. An AI, it's a black box. Data goes in, a decision comes out. But the why can be a mystery.
Roboff also said the industry is siloed. What's he getting at there?
He means that the standards for building the plane, flying the plane, and fixing the plane are all separate. There's no single set of rules for an AI that learns and changes over time.
So if the AI learns something new on a flight, is that a software update? Does it count as a maintenance action?
Yes. You see the problem. If the software changes itself midair, is it even the same certified aircraft that took off? Our regulations have no answer for that. None.
So we can build the helicopter, but we can't get the paperwork signed to let it fly?
That's the bottleneck in a nutshell. The engineers are miles down the road, and the regulators are still trying to draw the map.
But it's, while the software world is having this big existential crisis, the hardware side, propulsion, just scored a huge win. Let's talk about Zero Avia.
This was the big good news story in the magazine, a really major milestone.
They got Design Organization Approval, or DOA, from the UK CAA. Now, DOA sounds pretty bad. Why is it good here?
Yeah, bad in a hospital, but in aviation, it's the absolute golden ticket. A DOA means the regulators have audited your entire company, your engineers, your safety culture, everything, and they've said, we trust your process.
It's a license to design new aircraft tech.
It's the key that unlocks the type certificate. And Zero AD is the first company in the world to get this specifically for a hydrogen electric powertrain.
That feels really significant. This isn't just a concept sketch.
No, this is real. This is for their ZA600 powertrain, a 600-kilowatt system.
And what does 600 kilowatts get you? Are we flying jumbo jets with this?
No, think smaller. It's the right size for, say, a 9 to 19-seat aircraft. Your short, regional hoppers, island connectors.
Got it. And the technology is hydrogen fuel cells.
That's right. You have hydrogen in the tanks. It goes through a fuel cell, generates electricity, and that electricity turns the propellers.
And the only thing coming out the back is?
Water vapor. Clean enough to drink.
It's such a contrast to the AI problem, isn't it? With AI, the question is how can we ever trust this black box? But with hydrogen, the UK regulators have looked at the nuts and bolts and said, okay, we get this, we trust this.
It's because it fits our model of engineering. We know how to pressure test a tank. We know how to measure voltage. It's deterministic. So it's a huge step. It's moving this kind of tech from experimental into the certifiable column.
It does feel like the industry is growing up, moving from hype to the actual hard work.
Absolutely. And you see that maturity in the business world, too. I mean,
Hmm.
that headline about the big sale,
Um,
that was a shocker.
Jeppesen 4 flight. For anyone who's not a pilot, these two names are basically the map and the GPS for the entire aviation world.
They're the gold standard. Jeppesen makes the charts. 4Flight is the app on every pilot's iPad. And for a long time, they've been owned by Boeing.
But not anymore.
Nope. Boeing sold them to Thoma Bravo, which is a huge private equity firm, for $10.5 billion.
10.55 billion, and that was all cash.
All cash, which just shows you the value of that data. But I think the bigger story is what it means for their identity.
What do you mean?
Well, the new CEO, Brad Surak, is talking all about a return to independence. When you're owned by an aircraft maker like Boeing, there's always this question, this perception that maybe your tools favor their planes.
Right, if I'm flying an Airbus, do I want my navigation system to be owned by their biggest competitor?
Exactly. By stepping away, they can be, the Switzerland of aviation data again. They can serve everyone, commercial, military, private pilots, with no potential conflict of interest. They're just the map makers again.
So while Jeppesen is breaking away, another giant, Safran, is doing the exact opposite. It's digging in deeper in one specific region. The numbers from their India expansion are just,
Yeah,
they're wild.
it's a massive, massive bet. Safran is a French engine maker, one of the biggest. They're spending 200 million euros on a new MRO center in India.
MRO, maintenance, repair, and overhaul, a jet engine garage.
A very, very advanced garage, yeah. And this one is specifically for the LEP engine, which powers the new A320neos and the 737 MAX.
So why India?
Volume, just sheer volume. The source says there are over 400 LEP-powered planes in India already. But listen to this. They have 2,000 more engines on order.
2,000.
2,000. It's one of the fastest growing markets on the planet. Safran knows they can't keep shipping all those engines back to France for service. It's just not practical. You have to be where the work is.
And it's not just commercial engines, is it?
No, they're doubling down on defense, too.
Yeah.
Building another facility for the M8A8 engine, which is the one that powers the Rafale fighter jet that the Indian Air Force uses.
It really feels like a validation of that whole Make in India push. It's not just a place to sell things anymore. It's becoming a core industrial base.
It is, and it all connects back to this idea of resilience,
Yeah.
You want your supply chain to be local.
So if we pull the lens back and look at this whole picture, we've got a data company breaking free, an engine company digging in, a new fuel source getting certified, and a helicopter that doesn't even need a pilot.
It's a portrait of an industry in a really messy but really exciting transition, shedding old skins. Planes are shedding cockpits, engines are shedding carbon, companies are shedding their old corporate structures.
But then there's the sun.
Then there's the sun, which brings it all right back to where we started.
It's kind of humbling, isn't it? We can build these incredibly advanced, autonomous, clean energy machines. We can write code to replace a pilot's lifetime of experience. But it can all be brought to a halt by a Proton that flips one single bit in a chip.
It shows that real innovation isn't just about the shiny new object. It's not just about what a plane can do. It's about what it can withstand.
And it's about the rules. That's the thread connecting the solar flare and the AI helicopter. It's certification. For the A320, the fix is a software patch. For the AI helicopter, we haven't even finished writing the safety test yet.
We're in a race between what we can build and what we can trust. And can we write the rules for trust fast enough to keep up with the machines? That's the whole game right now.
Which leads me to the thought I kind of want to leave you with today. We just talked about an Airbus needing a patch to protect it from the sun and a helicopter that has no pilot at all.
Right?
Well, if the future of flight is an AI pilot, how does it make you feel knowing that your pilot might need a firmware update to keep from getting confused by a bit of space weather?
A brave new world indeed.
Is the future about better planes?
Yeah.
Or is it really about writing better code? Something to think about. That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.
Fly safe.